Hello GBA fans, it's Fufu here and I'm bringing you another pre-game predictions with my friend Under the Radar, also known as Kelly. Do you want to say hi?
No. Why would I want to say hi? Hey everybody, how you doing? How you doing?
So we are again going to look over the matchups for this coming week's battles and give our opinions on what is going to happen, what's going to go down. And the first one that we're going to look at is the Staraptors versus the Blazikens. And this one's going to be a pretty interesting one. Obviously with the Staraptors, when you're comparing them to any team, you have to think about what the switch-ins do they have to Victini, which a lot of teams lack, and Blazikens aren't really an exception. However, the Blazikens have recently picked up Miltank. A thick fat Miltank can switch into a Victini's choice banded adamant recreate, interestingly enough, so maybe he had that in mind when the Miltank pick happened. I don't know.
I think he kind of picked up Miltank specifically for Victini because he realized he didn't have anything to really take it on.
Yeah. So that's really interesting, and it does take the V-Create pretty well. And with reliable recovery and everything, that's actually probably going to be coming to this match, which I'm pretty excited about, to see a Miltank do some work.
Definitely. Miltank is probably one of my favorite lower tier mons to use just because it's such an annoyance to people.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think it's surprisingly good in the league format as well, having one battle of experience using it. It's actually really cool. It gets the rocks, it gets reliable recovery, which is always great, and a number of nice abilities to choose from. So it's pretty cool.
And speed control.
And speed control, and also base 100 speed, which I think is base 100 speed. So it's pretty cool as a utility mod.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that coming, hopefully.
One other thing that I kind of just noticed is that Swords Dance Lucario kind of does a lot of work to this team. Like, Clefable could be a switch-in, but even then, it doesn't want to switch in on too many. Like, if he's running like a mixed one, even with Swords Dance, all he has to do is slap on Flash Cannon, and it still hits super hard because it's more special than physical.
Although
it does a lot.
The defense's Shelmets could be a stop to that, to be fair. Which we have seen quite often. And I don't know if it'll be coming this time. I think because Victini is such a key member, the hazard removal has to be there, so Tentacle or Shelmets will probably be coming.
Yeah.
This one is an interesting match because I think the Blazikens do have tools to deal with the Victini. I don't think the Victini is the biggest threat on the Staraptors team, to be honest. But as long as they can keep the hazard control up with the Skarmory, they stand a good chance because they also have a lot of threats on their own side. Hydreigon is really good at breaking down walls and has a pretty decent matchup in this match. There are very few switch-ins.
So is Alakazam because he has no Psychic resist, so all he has to really do is come in and click Psychic, and it does a lot of... never mind, he has Crook. I'm stupid.
And Registeel as well, Registeel.
I completely skipped it.
Registeel,
Focus Blast.
Yeah, it gets wrecked by Focus Blast. So does Crook, to be fair.
Yeah. But even then, like, Pursuit, Crook, that could handle it very easily. So I think there's a lot that could go on from either side, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Just looking at team matchup, I think it's impossible to say, well, this one is a really good team matchup because they both just have so many things that check the other team.
Yeah.
Like, Jolteon does so much work to people's teams, but Mamoswine, like, Gastrodon, things like that, Manectric.
I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see Gastrodon here as well, because there doesn't seem to be too... I mean, Gourgeist would be the only stab grass type user, and Gourgeist is not necessarily something I'd expect to see in this matchup with things like Hydreigon, Mamoswine, Entei, all very strong contenders for having a place on the team. So without the stab grass type moves, there are other things that could run HP grass. Victini could run Energy Ball or something like that as coverage. But if played well, I think Gastro could actually put in a lot of work this match.
Offensive, like, Life Orb Clefable also does a lot of work. Like, if it runs Psychic Flamethrower and Moonblast along with, like, Moonlight, it could do a lot of damage to almost everything on the team. It hits almost everything super effectively on the team, which is really, really nice.
I think it could get a surprise KO or two, but it is quite slow, and when it's invested in special attack and not bulk, it won't be taking the hits as well, so it probably would go down a lot quicker than you'd hope for. But I think it would be interesting to see that Psychic Clefable on the Mega Venusaur switch, and that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, Clefable's one of those mons that isn't super fat. It just
Yeah.
barely misses out on like some crucial 2-hit KOs,
yeah.
or some crucial 3-hit KOs like that. So I think it's really good in this matchup. The only bad thing is he has so many things that could come in on it, like Lucario.
Yeah.
And Skarm too. Even with flamethrowers, Skarmory is still a problem for it.
I'm not sure how Lopunny fares in this matchup. Venusaur, if it's brought and it's defensive, probably can take it on reasonably well, but it's always a good check. And because the Blazikens have a lot of offensive threats, things like Alakazam that won't want to take the fake out return to break its sash, and it's just a really good revenge killer. I think because the Blazikens like their offense, it could do some work. It could do some work.
Another thing he could do is bring Cofagrigus, because even though like it gets scrappy and it can hit it, once he gets the Mummy ability, he's forced to switch out.
Yeah.
Because they normally don't carry anything except for like normal and fighting coverage, maybe the surprise ice type or fire type attack with Fire Punch or Ice Punch, but even then that doesn't do a whole lot this match. So I could definitely see Cofagrigus coming just to stop Mega Lopunny from having a field day.
And to be fair, Miltank Cofagrigus would be a pretty good defensive core right there, I think. It would work quite nicely. So who do you think is going to win this one, and what do you think the score will be?
I think that GHart's going to win. I think he's going to find a way to just punch holes early in the game and put Nick on the back foot. And I think he's going to win 2-0.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that I think Nick is going to get this one. I think that he's due a win, and I do think that he's got the tools here. I really like the idea of Miltank doing some work as well. That's one of the reasons I'm going to say him. And I'm probably going to say a 3-0 in his favour, because if he does get the momentum up, his team is very much about sweeping, just getting into that position to get the kills you need, I think. So if he can get in that position, I'd like to see a 3-0 in Nick's favour.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd like to see Nick come out on top, but I just think GHart is a really good matchup. Yeah. Want to go ahead and move on to the next one?
Well, what Pokemon do you think will be?
Oh shoot, I forgot about that. Yeah. Miltank. Miltank's going to be the MVP.
I'm going to say that too. If it takes a recreate and sets up rocks or something, I'm going to say that means it's definitely MVP. So my standard isn't too high, but if we see Miltank and it does something, I will be super happy. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the Gastros versus the Stantlers. I think this matchup is very, very even though Mikey doesn't have as much experience as Ellie does. I think that this team matchup and their play styles are very even because of the way they play. Like, the Stantlers like to have more control, while Mikey likes to get on the front foot and like power through the opponents, I've noticed. And I think that there's just some things that can do work, but everything is checked decently well on the opponent's team for both of them, so I could see it being a very long match.
Yeah, I agree, and it's interesting you say about the playstyles. I think that Ellie really likes to have the control. I think that Mikey, I think he likes it when he does have the control. If you give him the control, he is going to run with it, but when he doesn't have the control, I think he finds that really hard to come back from. So I think that this will be a lot of it'll be like a game of chess, I think, and a lot of manoeuvring to get in the right position. We were talking about potential nukes on both sides, and Darmanitan is one that you have to look out for on the Gastros team. The Stantlers do have things for that in the form of Vaporeon and maybe Regirock, and if you can do some crafty switching around, because Darmanitans are usually choiced. Life Orb is pretty... It's viable because of sheer force, but the issue with that is that if you're going for an Earthquake or a Superpower or something, you're taking damage, and with rocks and Flare Bit's recoil, he just dies so quickly.
And being so frail.
Yeah. So I think it will probably be choice if it's brought, and that can be played around. And
one thing we also mentioned was Togekiss.
Yeah.
I think Togekiss has a fantastic matchup.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like Nasty Plot, I think that would be awesome to see. Do I think it'll happen? No, but it would be really cool. And just looking at team matchup, it can do a lot of work.
Yeah, It would be great. All that would need to be done would be get rid of Scizor, and then even the fast mons on the Stantlers team can't really do too much to it. Infernape, I suppose, could Stone Edge or Thunder Punch it, but with a nasty plot Togekiss, with Aura Sphere for Regirock, you've got the Fairy coverage for Sableye, and then Air Slash hitting pretty much everything on the team, apart from Heliolisk as well. We could see Heliolisk, but yeah.
Yeah. I think Heliolisk will definitely come, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. Well, Heliolisk is a nice switch in on Suicune because it's immune to the water type if it's a dry skin one, and it can, Volt Switch around. So that would be cool to see. You also mentioned Roserade being super powerful this match, and I think that that's true. I think that because it hits a Suicune really hard, and everything on the team doesn't particularly like those hits, I
could kind of see her bringing an Expert Belt one, to be 100% honest with you, because once she does something like weakens Mew, weakens Nidoqueen a little bit, everything else gets hurt some shape, way, or form from it. Like Suicune, Giga Drain, Cobalion, like Hidden Power, whatever, and then Togekiss, Sludge Bomb, and then Dazzling Gleam for Spiritomb. That's basically all the coverage that she needs.
I think that a Specs one or something like that with a Leaf Storm could definitely put in the work.
Definitely.
You don't really have to worry about anything. Darmanitan will get I assure you, Specs Leaf Storm will probably do 70%ish. It will do so much damage. The only things that will be able to take the Leaf Storm will be things like Togekiss, but you've got Sludge Bomb for that. Cobalion, but if you have a Hidden Power for that, I'm not sure what would be best in this matchup. Maybe Hidden Power Ground. I would say Hidden Power Ground. And
to hit Raikou and Nidoqueen.
Yeah, Raikou, Nidoqueen, and Darmanitan, although you're hitting that hard anyway. But yeah, nothing really takes the Leaf Storm, so that could be really good. The thing with Roserade is the speed, and there are just a few things that slightly creep over the speed, like Mew, Raikou, and Cobalion.
I think Darmanitan is faster, too.
Yeah, Darmanitan is faster. It's 95 compared to 90, which is... that could be very interesting. So yeah, there are lots of ones that can do a lot of things, but again, it's all about the control and getting them into the position to do the things that you want them to do. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
One thing that I've really grown to love is the way Sandslash can be used in formats. Like Earthquake, Stone Edge, and Knockoff does a lot this match. Like it hits Mew, Raikou, Nidoqueen, Cobalion, Togekiss, Mega Aerodactyl, and Darmanitan. All super effectively.
I just feel that it's too slow to do that though, because all the things you mentioned, almost all the things you mentioned, can do so much to it back. Like you're not going to be able to Earthquake and Nidoqueen because it will kill you with an Ice Beam. You can't do
but it's I found it more useful as like a forced switch out on something, because if she brings say like an Assault Vest one, because they can take Hidden Power Ices decently well from things like Raikou and Cobalion and things like that. It can force them out, and then it can hit really hard.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that I would like to see work, but I doubt it'll happen.
Raikou is scary for Ellie, I would have thought, because she really struggled with the Bill's Volt Turn early on, and she'll have to deal with that, because that's definitely something we can see here, maybe with the Raikou and the Mew.
Raikou, Mew, Cobalion, and Darmanitan.
And Darmanitan, yeah. I'm thinking that we've seen Volt Turn work against the Stantlers, so it will be wise for the Gastros to bear that in mind. And that comes back to the Sandslash, because Sandslash is her only electric immunity, so we may see that coming, depending on whether Ellie thinks she can deal with the Volt Turn in other ways or not. So, yeah, that could be interesting.
Who do you think is going to win, and by how much?
I'm a fan of the Stantlers, and I'm going to stay loyal. I'm going to say the Stantlers, but I think this one's going to be a gritty one. I think it's going to be a 1-0. What about you?
I think that the Stantlers are going to win 2-0, maybe 3-0. I'm going to say 2-0 because I think it'll be a lot closer than what we think. However, I'm going to think that this is where Mikey's inexperience is going to show, because where Ellie has a lot more league experience, she can deal with problems better than Mikey can, just because she knows what to do. Mm-hmm. So I think that'll be the main deciding factor in this match.
Fair enough. And which Pokemon do you think will be MVP?
I want to say Togekiss, because I love Togekiss.
That would be cool. I'm going to say Raikou, because we have seen how terrifying Volt Turn can be, and Raikou is super good at that kind of thing, so I would say Raikou is going to cause Ellie a lot of problems.
Raikou, I think, is probably the best fast electric type in the format.
That is debatable, because Jolteon's faster and it has the Volt Absorb. A lot of people like it for those reasons. And then Mega Manectric's also great as well.
Yeah. Yep.
But
okay, you want to go ahead and introduce the next one?
Yeah, so the next one we're going to be looking at is the Shelmets versus the Bills, is it? Yes, that's the next one. So this one, again, is pretty interesting. I wouldn't say that either team has the matchup advantage, because there are things to be scared about on both teams. Manaphy, I think, is something that often gets overlooked and should never ever be overlooked, because it is terrifying when you get the tail glow off. Mega Manectric,
it's terrifying before the tail glow, just because of its insanely large move pool.
Yeah, the move pool and the natural bulk, and you just don't know what it's going to do. It feels like you're going to force a switch, but then can you risk switching out and letting it get a free tail glow off? That's the beauty of Manaphy. It's just really terrifying. You just don't know what to do in that situation.
And one thing that I've actually also personally done with Manaphy is, because it can force so many switch outs, throw U-turn on it. Yeah. And then you can get more switch initiative than you already had, plus some extra chip damage. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, so in this matchup, I thought initially it wasn't going to be too great, because it's automatically checked by Mega Manectric on the Bills. However, thinking about it, if the Manaphy is given a Whack-On Berry, then it will be able to take any one hit from Mega Manectric with ease. And so if you do get the tail glow up, and the Bills are expecting their Manectric to be able to be the check to that Manaphy, and you take it out with having taken a Whack-On Berry hit, then you're in a very good position. So I would say Whack-On Berry Manaphy would be incredible in this matchup. But whether that is going to be brought, I don't know. But I think that would be pretty cool to see.
Gassy does like his berries. I have noticed that, so
yeah.
I could definitely see him doing something like that.
Yeah.
What I noticed was that Swords Dance Toxicroak actually can do a lot of work this match, because the main threat in almost every single battle that the Bills are going to go into is going to be Excadrill, because if it gets in the sand, it gets up a Swords Dance, you're done for. Unless you have a stupid, bulky water type, you're in a lot of trouble. That's immune to ground as well, which I don't think there are any. So it's so good. Where Toxicroak, if it gets up a Swords Dance on something like Slowbro, because Psyshock, basically if it gets a Swords Dance up at all, it can Sucker Punch, do a lot of damage. It can hit so much super effectively. Even Hippowdon, once Swords Dance is up, it doesn't want to take 2 Drain Punches. Same with Umbreon. And then Slowbro obviously doesn't want to take a Sucker Punch. Gramble just dies to a +1 Poison Jab. The only thing that could really help it stop like the Swords Dance would be Dusclops. And even then, Toxicroak does a lot of work to this team.
If you said if the Toxicroak has knockoff, then it does a lot of damage to Dusclops as well. But then you're running into kind of 3 move syndrome with SD as well. So, Toxicroak is a very scary threat here, and something that the Bills will have to think about in team prep. I do like the Bills team, though. As we were going through the different threats that the Shelmets have, the Bills do have a lot of things for them. Like AV Hariyama is something that takes on Manaphy as well, and we said that Doublade could be a bit of a threat. However,
a bit, yeah.
A bit of a threat. However, there are things like Foul Play Umbreon that can probably take it on quite well. Exploud can hit it quite hard. It depends on what Doublade is brought. You said that especially defensive Doublade would be better, and it would get the setup easier, yes, but it would miss out on some KOs, like on the Umbreon, and then the Umbreon would be able to do a nice 80-ish% to it with a +2 foul play. I think the Bills definitely have the walls, but with this one, it's going to be interesting to see which walls the Bills do decide to utilize, and I think it's all going to be about whether they get the prep right, whether they prepare for the right expected team or not. Because you can't, in this matchup, they can't prepare for everything perfectly. So it's about whether they did anticipate the right things or not, I think. And so it's going to be a tense battle.
And one thing that you also mentioned was Trick Room on the Bills side, not the Shelmets side, which I kind of thought was a little interesting. Just because Trick Room against Vinny is something that was never, ever thought of in any matchup ever. Just because his team is so slow outside of, like, Torn and Latios Manatee.
But those are, I could see a fast Shelmet team coming this time for sure.
Yep, I could too.
I could see that happening, but I don't know.
And I think it's really cool that neither one of us think that, I mean, at least we haven't mentioned it, that Latios is going to be doing a lot of work this match. It's walled pretty easily by like, Umbreon.
It's just by Umbreon, really. It's not...
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Unless he wants to be cheeky and run Dragon Dance. You never know.
Yeah, I suppose. But then Umbreon's Foul Play will be doing more damage. Does it get superpower? I don't think it does. That would be interesting.
Nah, I don't think it does. That would be really cool, though.
Yeah. So, who do you think is going to win this one?
I've gone with Vinny every week.
Yeah.
But I have to go against Vinny this week. And I'm going to go with the Bills. And I think they're actually going to win only 1-0. I think it's going to be a really, really close match.
Okay. Well, I don't think that I've been with Vinny too many. I said Vinny last week, I believe. But I want to see that Wakanberry Manaphy completely throw off the Bills' preparations. I want to see that be the case. And I would like to see a mini Manaphy sweep at the end of the game. So I'm going to say 2-0 for the Shelmets.
Ooh, okay. And who do you think the MVP will be?
Well, I'm going to say Manaphy for this. I'm really hoping for that Wakanberry Manaphy. I'm pinning my hopes on it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'm actually going to think that Toxicroak will be the MVP.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think that's what will make the battle a 1-0.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Okay, moving on to the final match is the Arcaniners versus the Dolphinions. And this match, I think, is a lot more easy to judge
than any match how we've ever had to judge before.
And I honestly don't think it's because it's the Dolphinions. I think it's because Mega Scizor just does so much work this match.
Yeah. Well, we're looking at currently the team with the best record against the team that has struggled. This one is... I think it's going to be easier for us to predict, but as you say, it's actually... There are things specifically with this matchup that are going to be good. Mega Scizor is terrifying for the Dolphinions, but they do have the Rotom Wash. They will have to play the Rotom really well, or just play it quite safely, not let it get too damaged, because I think the whole plan of the Arcaniners will be to weaken the Rotom Wash so that Mega Scizor can sweep, and the Dolphinions have to see that, and they have to play around it. So,
and even then, they have a really good Rotom Wash check in Shaman, because Will-O-Wisp, natural cure, and it just hurts so much with Seed Flare. I don't even think he has anything on his team that really wants to take Seed Flares, outside of maybe Porygon 2, Sylveon maybe.
Yeah.
But Shaman has a really good matchup here too, and I think Goodra has a really good matchup here too.
Yeah, has a good matchup. It does, yeah. I mean, a physical Life Orb Ice Punch Nidoking would hurt it a lot.
Yeah, but then we have Uxie.
Would hurt it a lot as well.
Yeah, but then we have Uxie, the fat of fat that just doesn't want to take knockoffs.
Yeah. Well, Uxie, if you give it a Colbert Berry, it doesn't care about knockoffs one bit, really.
Yeah, and Milotic is a really easy check to Weavile.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. So it's good. It is tough. Do you think that the Dolphinions have any tools that they could try to use to stop the onslaught?
Yes. Do I think they will use it? No. I think that if he plays Nidoking really well, all he has to do then is go Calm Mind Sylveon.
Yeah, he needs to get rid of Scizor, Carmine
Yeah,
Sylveon
exactly.
can be good. If Landorus Eye comes, that Sludge Wave is going to do so much damage.
He's going to do a lot, but then easy switch into Porygon too. Even if he's like Eviolite, if he has Sludge Wave that wants to 2-hit KO with Sylveon, it also isn't going to be max attack, so Superpower won't be 2-hit KOing Porygon. And then that means that he would also have to have Knockoff, which is 3 of his 4 moves right there, which he already has extreme 4-move syndrome on Landorus.
Yeah, I agree that there are options. I like the Nidoking. I think that Nidoking can be great. I think to win with a Carmine Sylveon, a lot of work has to be done, and Mega Scizor will have to be taken out of the equation, and the Arcaniners know that is an easy win condition for them, so they will be preserving Mega Scizor. We won't see Mega Scizor until the late stages of the battle, I wouldn't have thought, unless they're trying to get Rotom Washed chip. So that could be a strategy, but it would be a hard-fought one.
Swords Dance Weavile also kind of does a lot.
Yeah, it does. Arcanine stops it.
Yeah, it does.
Arcanine stops it. But again, we've named a lot of things on George's team, and he can't bring everything. So if the Dolphinions do manage to pick the right elements, they can give him a run for his money. But we'll see how that goes. I think Nidoking is a good shout, though. I think it could do a lot of damage.
Nidoking is a seriously amazing Pokemon in this format, and I think it's slept on a lot when it shouldn't be. It can 6-0 teams.
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to win?
I think the Arcanine is going to win.
By how much?
I'm going to say a 4-0 because oh no, I'm not. I'm going to say a 5-0. I think the Arcaniners will be gunning for their 6-0. I think they will be gunning for a 6-0, and I'm thinking that the Dolphinions will be able to stop them from getting that.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I'm going to say too. I think that they're going to be trying their hardest to get a huge differential from that week 1 1-0 victory. I think he's thirsty for a huge win, so I think George could definitely do it too. Yeah. Who do you think the MVP will be?
I don't know actually. I mean, I think Mega Scizor could be, but I'm not sure if it will get to the stage where Mega Scizor gets a chance to sweep. I think that just chipping away will be the way that the battle ends up. So I'm going to say Shaymin. I think Shaymin's going to play a big role in this.
Okay, I'm actually going to think that Porygon 2 will be the MVP, just because he's going to be having to switch into that a lot to take a lot of hits.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that wraps it up for this week. As always, please let us know what you agree and disagree with in the comment section below. Do you have any final words?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, so we'll see you again next week for pre-game predictions. I hope you enjoy the battles tomorrow, and the guests will see you around. Bye.
Bye.